everyone. Welcome to the Midas Touch Book Club. We're a little late today. We had some technical difficulties, but we're on track and we're very happy to be here. So the Midas Touch Book Club, what is that? Well, it's a book where the leading experts reveal their top secrets to winning big and in life. And as I said last week, we're going to, throughout the next few weeks, we'll be meeting some of the authors of the Midas Touch in these Google Hangouts. And today we are talking with Ivan Nossa about his chapter called The Fields of 100 Harvests. So, hi Ivan.
Hello. Hello everybody.
Ivan is straight from Italy. So, Ivan, just for the purpose of this, the people that are listening in and that don't know you, would you like to tell us just a little bit more about you?
Okay. I am one of the foreign authors of this book. I come from Italy. I have studied languages, foreign languages, French and English. I've got a degree. I've started teaching when I was after university, and then I decided to open my small business that is still alive, and it's a language school and a translation agency. But my passion has always been writing, so this is my dream, and this is what I will achieve very soon. This experience of the Midas Touch has been my first attempt to write and be published. I have another book ready that I hope will be published very soon. I'm talking with the publishers now, so hopefully before Christmas. And I'm very happy to be here with you and to be in this wonderful book.
Cool. Well, joining us today, we've got Joshua. We had Christopher that disappeared. She's having some technical difficulties, but we have Joshua. Hi, Joshua.
Hi, Jasmine. Thanks for having me here.
We love it. We love it. So, we're going to, when Christopher comes back, we'll say hi. I wanted to share what I liked about the your chapter, Ivan, and there's actually two things that came to mind as I read your chapter. The first thing was, I personally love elderly people. Like, I think we should all take care of our elderly people, and so I like that part that, you know, we should listen to them more. We should, like, just have conversations with them and listen, like, to what they have to say. That's the first thing that came to mind. The second thing that came to mind was how when you're speaking to a child, you should, or we all should, be aware of what we're saying, because we can inspire them for a lifetime. So that's really what touched me in your chapter and those things. So I wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Most of the people, when I read this story, because my chapter is a bit different from the others, because it is a story, a fiction. It is not real. Even most of the people, when they read it, they think that I'm talking about my grandfather, but I'm not. It is just a fictional story that has helped me to explain what I believe is very important in life, that is gratitude and love for life. And from there on, you know, you will start to see many things happen. So this is why I just choose an old man, because I think, as you said, Jasmine, we have a lot to learn by people who have already traveled in this world, you know.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Joshua?
Well, I find the story that, and I read it, and it brings tears to my eyes. It reminds me of my grandfather, you know, in a way. And my grandfather was a very loving, kind, caring, giving, stoic, strong man. You know, he actually grew up deaf, and so he had to deal with he would never call them a disability, but he had to grow up with disabilities and the prejudices and stuff behind that. But that didn't make him bitter, it made him better. And so as I read this story, I think of my grandfather, and it makes me feel like I'm crawling in his lap and I'm talking to him. And part of who I am is obviously part of of my grandfather's influence. And the interesting thing about what you said, Jasmine, with that about we can learn a lot from our elderly. Uh, I think on the other side too, we can learn a lot from our elderly, and we can learn a lot from our kids. And you put them together, and they are the most wise beings on the planet. I mean, it's amazing. And it just happens that my father was in town this last weekend, and so it stirring up emotions and stuff within me. And I live my life as positive as I can. I want to be a positive influence. I want to help and do things. And stories like this are stories I want to read to my children, and I want them to understand, and I want them to get. So, Ivan, your story is just beautiful, and I absolutely love it, and I think it's fantastic. And keep writing, please. Keep writing.
Uh, it comes straight from my other book that I was telling you about that I hope will be published before Christmas. And the book is about gratitude, and it has got, every 2 or 3 chapters there is a story that, tells you with fiction and how explain things better, with this kind of stories that I love. And funnily enough, I have never met my grandfathers, never knew them, none of them. Maybe without knowing it, this could have been a way to, get in touch with them. My inner part probably brought me to write about my grandfather, even if I haven't met him.
Mm. Christopher.
Hi.
What did you think of?
Ivan, I loved your story so much. It moved me to tears. Also, gratitude, of course, is one of the greatest offerings we can bring. But I think it speaks to so many, with that connection to the elders and, Joshua, I agree, to the children as well. And I actually was really blessed. I grew up with my grandparents. And so the story, I'm getting goosebumps everywhere. The story was so amazing to me because it took me to different things. My grandmother loved her garden. And in later years, I was up in the kitchen with my grandfather who had suffered a really bad stroke. And I looked down at the garden, and she's laid out in the garden. I'm like, oh my God, it's so cramming. And we go running down to help her, and she's laying flat on her back, and her hand is behind her. And I said, oh, are you all right? She says, oh, I'm fine, dearie. It's easier to pull the weeds like this. And you're like, you fall in, you can't get up, so you do what you can, It was beautiful, but interestingly enough, I was like that kid that when the time was coming, I would go and spend days with her asking her all these questions because, as an elder and from such a different time without technology and all of that, as please share all your stories, share how you had such a great and wonderful life. And she was play in the garden, and get your hands in the dirt. And she was very affluent, but she'd be out there with her big baubles gardening with her hands and just connecting with the earth, and gratitude was one of her biggest messages. So Ivan, your story, like, I still have goosebumps everywhere. It just rang to me and it sang to my heart, and it is so eloquently written. I feel blessed to be part of the book that you're in.
Thank you. Um, it is interesting how life always goes into circles. And, when you do something, then you met people who are on the same circle that you are, I don't know if I'm clear about it, but, what happened to Joshua, to Christopher, about their grandparents, and, it is never by chance that we meet and we read each other's stories. Everything is really linked, and it's like a big circle that brings us together, always. There are always links and links. You never meet people by chance, never.
Nope.
Never. I completely agree. Full synchronicity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because that is one of the things that I say too, is that there is no such thing as, random chance, random meetings, random things. Everybody crosses your path for a reason. You may not know what it is, you may never know what it is, but it is.
Yes. Jasmine?
Yes.
Yes.
You've placed me in a reflective mode.
Oh.
I'm reflecting. I'm
How was your relation with your grandparents?
That's exactly where I'm at. I never met the grandmother, my father's mother. I've never met. My father's father. No, my father's father. My grandfather on my father's side. Um, he was my pal. I remember my grandfather on my father's side lived with us for a while when I was first born, and my mother would say, "That man loved you." He would sit next to the next to my bed, and he would constantly say, "Man, she's beautiful. Man, she's such a beautiful baby." and that that stuck with me. I remember just he would always send us money, but I never had a chance to. He passed when I was like 15, and so I knew he loved me, but I never really had a chance to connect with him. And on my mother's side, my grandfather and my grandmother, I never knew them. I didn't have that awakening back then. I just didn't have that thing where I would wonder. Um, I would. I didn't have that. Just didn't have the thing that I have now. Nowadays, like I look at my parents. My parents are now elderly, and I want to be with them all the time. And I wish every person would feel that way. Would just hang out with them, and I'm just like, whatever you want to do, guys. Like, what do you want? and I just want to do it with them. You want to go where? To the store? Let's go. We're going to the store. You want to go to the restaurant? Let's go. Let's go to the restaurant. You want to go for a walk? Let's go for a walk. So I think for me it's important now that I listen and give back is how it is for me right now. But to answer your question, Yvonne, I did not have a relationship with my grandparents. My grandfather died when he was 94, 95, I think, and he lived in an assisted living area, and I did not know him. He was very strict. I remember my grandfather being very strict. Things had to be, this is how it goes, this way. And back then I just didn't know, unfortunately. I didn't get to know him.
What this story is about also is something that we also share when we talk about the law of attraction, is that when you, like this grandfather, he loved these, vegetables and whatever he grew, and he received much more back, So when you love, when you give love, this was the story is about, you get much more love in return. And the same applies to all fields of life, I believe. As much as you give, you will get in return. Because if you just let go what you have inside, what you... Yeah, it's all about love, basically, in all fields of life. Even when we talk about money and success, isn't it all about love at the end? I mean, if you love what you do, if you care for your success, for your job, for your family, you will get much, much more. You will see the miracles really in your life multiply. And you do something. This is what I'm experiencing. You do something with all your heart, and then you see this something becomes 10 something, or 20 something, and it keeps multiplying if you do it with the right attitude. That is what this grandfather did in the story. So the same is for the law of attraction, what Joe Vitale tells us, if you care for what you do, you will attract things undeniably. If this is the right word.
It is.
Yes. So, are you experiencing the same with your life, with your passions, whatever you do?
I wholeheartedly agree, and that's why I love the whole image of the garden, because our life is a garden. And about 25 years ago, I used to have women's retreats here, and for weekends, and I would have them go work in my garden, little karma yoga, but I'd have them pull weeds. It's the metaphor of pulling the weeds out of their life, anything that extrapolates them from their joy, whatever they held on to. And then at the end of the weekend, the last day, whatever area they had worked in, I'd have all these butterfly plants in pots, and they'd then plant the new plant, right, for the transformation and the joy. And they would then take one home to nurture, in metaphor that's how they were nurturing their life for that which they desired, and releasing that which no longer served them, to move more into a place of joy, of course, gratitude, and being that which you want to see in the world. And that's one of the greatest things, and one of my greatest, most favorite quotes from Gandhi is, be the change you want to see in the world. Well, if you want the world around you to change, you need to do the work. You need to clean, you need to weed out your garden. You need to get balanced and find out that connection of your heart and your higher, the higher part of your knowing, right? So that you can live more harmoniously. And you live more harmoniously in gratitude, everything else just flows and comes to you. And that's, I was with grandfather was telling the child, and it's so beautiful. I mean, again, so moved, and it brought up for me so many memories having grown up with my grandparents, and what a treat that was, because I got different lessons than I would have from regular from parents. And one of my favorite ones is my grandfather was very playful, and he was a big practical joker, and he would torture us with these practical jokes as little girls. And he was so good at storytelling, and he would work you into these practical jokes for days. He would set you up, and it's your idol, your grandfather, you believe everything he says, and then bingo, he's got some big funny thing, and he actually could hold on to it. One of the things he did to me, he held on the truth. It wasn't discovered for about 8 years until I busted him. I went in with the truth, and he's playing solitaire, and I dropped the truth on the table next to him, and he just smiled, like with a little yellow canary feather out of his mouth, like, got you. I'm like, 8 years? Talk about a lesson in patience. Beautiful.
Joshua, what do you have to say? I have to make you talk because I just am running out of battery on my computer. So I have to run to get my plug.
Well, I just think, Ivan, the story is absolutely beautiful, and it's so much. It's really true just about life. Live life, love life, nurture life, and life will love you, live for you, and nurture you back. So, I mean, it's absolutely true. And then just with everything you're doing, Ivan, with your book talks and your traveling and your promotion and doing all this stuff, is that you're spreading the word of the positivity of this book, and and it's just beautiful. I mean, I've been wanting to reach out to you and talk to you anyway about it. It always seems that, we let life get in the way, right? Things happen. But, I just, out of everyone, I mean, I love everyone in this book. I truly, with all of my heart, I love everyone in this book. And Ivan, I think because you and I had that initial, conversation and talk right off the bat, and we started chatting back and forth on Facebook and stuff, and and then your chapter, and there's something in it that just definitely, well, there's something in everybody's chapter that really rings to my heart. But the comment earlier was like the Four Musketeers here, right? And I think that's so funny because we're pioneering this thing, we are, and we're developing it as we're going on. And I am so blessed to have everyone here.
Do you remember, Joshua, at the beginning, all the fears that we had about this book?
Yep.
And as soon as we let those fears go away, we realized how wonderful it was.
Yep.
You guys had fears about the book? Fill me in.
Well, now it feels super silly. There were just, negative things out there, being published around the internet, things like that, and stuff, and it was like, well,
will we receive the books? Will they be printed for real?
Yeah, are we really going to get them? Is it real?
Vitali, of course. The man has integrity.
Yeah.
No, and we knew that. We totally knew
I never went on the internet and looked.
For me, I was super. Go ahead, Yvonne.
There is always a part of us who is attached to our inner fears, and sometimes it comes up. But as much as you let it go away, you start to see things differently. It's a fight. Continue to fight.
And that's it's always going up and facing that and saying, like, I'm a big cancel, clear, delete. No, I have faith in this, faith and grace. And my dad, who is such an intellectual snob and like prolific reader, I called him to tell him, he's like, who's this Joe Vitale guy? I'm like, how can you not know who this is? This is like unbelievable what you're saying. And he's like, this is like a multi-level marketing thing. I'm like, in what chapter? so he's kind of poo-pooing it. Meanwhile, my godfather, who used to be president of USA, TV, he's like, this is amazing, this is great, congratulations. And I'm like, can you call my dad and fill him in, like, how great this is, right? So the books come, I don't tell him, I send it to him. He reads it, he calls me, and he goes, okay, how can I get, like, 20 books?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. I think that I had fears also. I have to agree with Christopher. I didn't have fears about Joe. I knew if Joe said, we're doing this, we were going to do it. That fear that it would not happen was not there for me. The fear that was there for me was like, I've never written. I knew I was a okay writer, but I never written. That's the one thing. The second thing was I didn't hide. I didn't hide in the writing. So whatever you read, you're actually getting me. So
you were being exposed. Maybe your fear was about being like fully exposed.
Yes.
Vulnerable. Beautiful, though. How brave of you.
Yes, it was definitely the vulnerability of it, and I think that that definitely scared me. And it's funny because one of the things that is, I have a wall upstairs where I stick words, and I stick, like be the change you want to see in the world is stuck right here next to the place. And I surround myself and remind myself by putting beautiful things. See my beautiful flowers? Actually, it's this way. See my beautiful flowers? It's all about beauty. And one of the things that's stuck in my wall upstairs is I'm here to reign. And people come in and they go, what? What are you talking about, Jasmine? And I was like, well, this is just to remind me that I'm here to reign. So I'm gonna give you the best that I can give you. I'm gonna talk with my heart. Most of the time, I can't promise all of the time, but I will do my best to speak the truth, and whoever listens, I'm here to reign. So some of you will listen to it, and you guys are like fully grown, and it's just helping you grow to most beautiful flowers. And some of you are still in the ground, and you're just right there, and you're about to come and bloom. Some others, I am not going to see it, but it's kind of growing, and some of them it's rocks, and it's just kind of not do anything. So this is just to remind me, when I see I'm here to reign, to not stop myself from saying what I want to say. And
the queen.
So yeah, that's so Yvonne. In that respect, yeah, I quit my job when I was in my 30s, and I said I was miserable. I couldn't believe that I was placed on this earth to be this miserable, and I quit. And I was like, okay, well, no, I don't want to do that anymore. And that's when I decided that I'm going to do what I love. And to this day, I'm like 15, 20 years later, something like that. I'm still doing it, and I have to remind myself that that's what I want to do, because I could get caught up in doing the I call it, just following the pack, because I could just follow the pack and say, oh, they're going that way, let me go that way. But whether I like it or not, it like following, you don't even ask yourself, do I like this? Do I love this? Is this what I want to do? That's what I feel like following the pack means to me, So I do my best to, like, I love doing this. I think you guys already know. I'm just like that you guys are jumping in and that you're plugging in, and then I have to show you how to do this, how to do that, and then that we create these beautiful things where people can come and listen and get something for themselves, I think is awesome.
So, and what's funny too is that in 10 years people are going to be going back and watching these.
Oh dear Lord.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. I know it is. That's why I laugh about us being the initial ones here.
Okay, there you go. Now you triggered my fear button.
See, I love it. I absolutely love speaking and talking and sharing and loving and doing all that stuff. So that's it's just part of who I am. And I know that that's who I am. So it's funny as you talk about the sheep, following the sheep. We've been programmed to believe that following the sheep is safe. You're safer in the flock, right? But that's just a programming.
Yeah, I've never been in a flock, so I'm an alpha of an actual pack. So.
You lead the flock. Yeah, it's just fun watching and seeing, and just wait until we're watching each other grow.
Right? How fun is that?
Oh, it's exciting.
It's very exciting. And Ivan, I wanted to get back to you for a second because I think, I have a few people in mind now that I have to actually gift your book, our book to, because of your chapter. There's a odd selfishness that goes on when people who are married aren't getting along, and then they pick a bone with one of the elders, one of the grandparents. And I have this one particular couple, and she has actually denied access to the grandmother, to the child. And I keep saying, send this woman to me. I need to speak to her because this is so wrong on so many levels. That child needs its grandparent, and it's the only grandparent here. And she's denying that relationship. And to me, that's just already imprinting toxicity on a precious child that should have a relationship with its elder, with its grandparent. And I think I'm going to let you know how it goes, Ivan, because I'm going to get that book to them today or tomorrow. Just kind of recommend your chapter subtly, like, oh, this might be really good for you to read.
Thank you.
And I'll keep you posted, so we'll see if it makes a difference.
Thank you.
Yes. No, thank you.
Last week, I received a very good compliment for our book from a friend of mine who I think is one of the most special person I've ever met. I don't see her often, but when we meet, it's always special, And I sent her the book, and she read it, and what she told me is, you have to realize that this book is like a box of jewels, she said. It's like every person who has put their energy into this book made him so wonderful that sometimes you don't even have to open it or read it. You just have to touch it or keep it on your, table, wherever. There is so much energy coming from this book
That's
that
so beautiful. And I had a friend visit from Dominican Republic, and who I've known for years, and he came to stay for a few days last week, and he said, Ivan, this is so serendipitous, precisely the same thing. He said, this is like a book of jewels. This is so exquisite. It's so much bigger than any of you can imagine. And I was like, I can't wait to like hopefully get online with them and to share that information. So apparently the psychic does too.
it is. It probably has more energy than what we think it has. Because if you think of all the people that have put their heart into it,
That's a lot of heart.
So,
Well, I got chills. I had muted myself, but I wanted to tell you, like, it never occurred to me that way. So yes, I really love what your friend said and what your friend said, Christopher. I mean, I'd never seen it that way. Yeah, just having the book on a table brings so much energy because there's so much love into it. Yeah, I agree.
And you know what I love is because the chapters are small, like books that have daily inspirations and the one you read that day is perfect for that day. Well, because the chapters are so beautifully succinct with all that heartfelt message, someone can just leave it there and pick it up at any time and say, okay, and read it and go, oh my gosh, that's perfect for what I needed today.
yeah.
I've actually told people too that don't read it from beginning to end. Just pick it up and thumb through it, and wherever you land, that's where you needed to read. And it's every single time they're like, "Yep, that was," and then they'll read more and be like, "Well, it could have been on this one too, and it could have been on this one too."
I know.
Yeah, it's funny. I keep one with me. Like I have one. I have a book on my nightstand, on my desk, my bookshelves, my car, everywhere. I have them all over the place. Yeah, it's just, and it's funny because I never looked at it that way either, of the energy coming out of it. And it's like, well, and now it's kind of like, well, duh, that makes sense.
I know, that's how I felt when I got, sorry guys, when I got that message from him, when he told me that, I'm like, really? Cool. And I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I love keeping the books in the car because I believe they do have their own life to them. And because I just drive wherever I'm supposed to drive to without, knowing the direction I'm going to go in, so I land where I'm supposed to, those books actually end up, because they're in the car, they're available, like the story I post about running into the homeless guy, and he'd been praying for some sort of inspiration and blah, 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 and I'm like, this is perfect. I didn't even plan to go out, I just ran out to get soup, and I'm like, I got some for you in the car.
Well, Yvonne, you got us going. You got us going, Yvonne.
How much time do we have left?
We have another 15 minutes.
Okay. So something else that comes from... Oh, and by the way, I hope to see the Italian version published soon.
Oh,
For
great.
that.
Do you
And
know if they started translating it? Do you know?
no, I haven't got an answer yet, but there are for the moment there are 3 publishers who are interested. But it takes a lot of time because they have to read it, then they have their meetings, then they have to decide what to publish, and then it's not really quick, but sooner or later there will be an Italian version of the book. Also
There's,
French, great.
there's going to be a French one too, I'm sure.
Yeah,
In Spanish.
Spanish, of course.
Yeah, 10 books just went down to Dominican Republic, so I have a lot
Good.
of friends down there, so.
So, Ivan, you've done a lot of work with the media. You've spread the name
Yes.
quite a bit. So we're very proud of you. I'm sure I'm talking for Joshua and Christopher, but we're very proud of you.
Going really well for some reason it is going very well, more than what I expected. But you know, if things have to happen, they happen. I think the message of the book is very strong, and it's, you know, traveling its way, and I don't know, more than what I expected. Because every time I meet someone, I meet a journalist, I meet, like, the first time I did an interview for the local newspaper, it wasn't a big one, but they did this very nice article, the one that also Joe uses for its advertising. And I met this journalist for the first time, and she said to me, you know, I never worked for this newspaper. I just helped them in July because I don't have my other work in July. So by chance it happened that I came to interview you, and at the end of our discussion we became friends, and it was a very, very nice talk. And at the end she said, oh, by the way, my ex-husband is, you know, the manager, and he's organizing this big festival, literature festival. And so I will talk to him about you, and he will surely invite you down, and blah 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 blah. So I went to this festival. The other interview I did, that will come out next week, another journalist came, and she said, you know, I never worked for this magazine. It just happened that this time, you know, they sent me because, you know, nobody else was available. And so we start talking, and also you know, the talk was very nice. We became friends, and we talked about everything. And at the end, she said, you know, my regular job, I work at the radio station, blah, 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 a big one. And so she said, I will talk to my colleague that, you know, has her show in the afternoon, and she will surely call you there, and blah, blah, blah. So every time I meet someone, it's like a link to the next one. And it's really a miracle. I couldn't have done it better by myself. It's just letting things go, and it all began when I started to trust things and life, and then it takes you by the end, and it goes. It's emotional sometimes to see how things go, and now one brings another, and you start to see things that you didn't see before, you couldn't see before. You really start to open your eyes and realize that all these miracles that I'm experiencing now, they were there before as well. They've always been there. It's just me, you know. It's me that I've changed. It's my eyes opened, and that's what made the difference. It's not that I was not this lucky before. I've always been lucky. It's just I just started to look at life and in a different way. And the sooner you start, the sooner you will see these miracles. Because miracles happen every day, in all ways of life. When you work, even when things appear bad, if you just take a little time and watch back to them and look back, and you understand they were miracles as well. You know, it's just how you see things. It's just the capability to look at things in the right way. and you realize this world is a miracle. Our life is a miracle every time. And this is what this book is helping me to do, and this experience is really allowing me to trust, to let go of my fears and start really trusting life. And things change suddenly. It doesn't take long. And I think I have got this Catholic background. You know, I'm Italian, but now I start to understand when Jesus said, "You don't have eyes to look at things. You don't, you can't see things. You don't have the right eyes, the right look. You know, you don't have the eyes to see things." And that is the truth. You know. The sooner we open our arms, we will have the eyes to see what happens around us and how beautiful the world is. It's just eliminating fears and, you know, everything that held us back will change our view of life forever, I guess. I hope. So what do you think?
I totally agree with everything you said. Totally agree. And you know, sometimes it's patience. You know, because people, you know, they think they just start doing it and that now it should happen, and it's deliberate, intentional work in a space of love every day, knowing that miracles happen and that everything is a miracle and everything is magical and tied in, just like all of us being tied in this brilliant little jewel box of our Midas Touch book. And I mean, I see miracles every day, and I always tell everybody, if something comes to you that's like a miracle, woo, yeah, bring it on, woo, bring up the energy, you know, acknowledge it, be happy, and then your eyes will actually see more. You know, it's like if I have somebody that's, oh, I should have trusted my intuition, dang it, you know, just going on the intuitive edge. And I always say, hey, look, in that moment you say, woo, I knew that intuitively, so next time I know to act on it. So it's always congratulate yourself, pat yourself on the back, appreciate it, you know, dance it in, you know, just be in joy and gratitude that you're witnessing the miracle and you're co-creator of that miracle. And the more energy and vibrance you bring to it, the more your vision clears to see the next one and the next one in every moment. And it's just so divine. I love it, and it's fun. I mean, that's the thing. It gets so much fun when we get out of our own way, you know?
Trust is very important. I mean, when you learn to trust, then things happen. Because usually you tend to fix things your way, you know, because they don't happen at the right time, the time you want to, at the pace you want to, you know. So you start trying to fix everything, and that's when they slow down, you know, the miracles.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's like we think that things aren't happening, you know, things aren't happening the way they should be happening, or we're bad, or you know, it's not going well. But what it really is that we're just not very good at predicting how it's supposed to go. You know, we should just let things be the way they're going and just acknowledge and be happy that it's going the way it's going, and not try to change anything in that moment. And when you do that, it's kind of like, first of all, it's much more relaxing. And you're not resisting everything that's happening around you. And then when you just trust, okay, well, you know, I guess it's not what I thought. I really would have liked it. I really would have liked it to happen now, but it didn't. So I have to trust that that's
Well, I think trust in divine timing also is really important. And when I'm doing something, I'll say, I know this is happening. I may not know how, but I know it's already happened and in greater ways than I could even imagine. And it will happen in its own divine timing. Let me just take my hands off the wheel of trust.
Yeah, I'll say one of the things that I tell myself all the time, and one of the things that I've realized is that I cannot control the things I cannot control. And as soon as you realize that, it makes life so much easier. And time is something you can't control. So, yeah, I want things, I want them now. Then you look and say, well, what's driving that? Is that my ego that's driving that? More than likely, it probably is. Well, I want to be happy now, damn it. Make me happy now. Wait a minute, come on. And then you start realizing more that it's when you let go of controlling that, the universe is working with what you're putting out there. And you're putting out resistance, believe it or not, saying, I want this. That's resisting. Look at your arms. It's so funny. So when you release that and you let go of that, and this goes back to a conversation that Ivan and I had months and months and months ago. When we release that of the fear and the anger, and I want it now, I want it now, I want my books now, damn it, give me my books. Next thing you know, our books are showing up. So yeah, it's those things in life, and I teach my kids this. I teach my dad this. I talk to everybody I can about this. It's the whole, the timing. We have no control over it. And get out of your own head thinking that everything revolves around you. It does not. Even though you may think it's direct correlation to you, it may not be. So, yeah, I get a little passionate and stuff about this, and I love talking about it. And it's funny because I'm listening to Ivan speak, and he draws you in, draws you in, draws you in. Ivan, I see you. I see you. I see you speaking in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people because people want to listen to you. I see it. It's coming.
I agree.
I mean, and this is not this isn't a boy, I'd like to see this happen type of thing. Oh no, I'm being told it's happening to you, and it's coming because you have this. Your soul, your being, your aura, you are you, and people are drawn to you, and it's happening. You're seeing it happen right now, and you're sharing it with us, and it's like, I am so drawn into you that it's a beautiful thing. And you're talking about how you meet a lady. Oh, I don't normally write for this paper, and then this, and this happens. Oh, I don't normally write for this, and this happens. It's because you have this just beauty. I'm like watering up. My eyes are watering up. It's so beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And I had to share it.
Thank you. Italian, that I also have more words to use.
You don't need to think about it. Just when you talk, it just comes to you. It's just beautiful.
And this Saturday we'll be speaking at this expo thing that is quite huge. And for some reason I've been invited by our main newspaper, the biggest one we have.
Yeah, all the reasons that Joshua just said, Ivan.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna say, but I'm more confident than the first time. I know words will come to me and it will be okay.
I'm also very confident. I trust in you.
Thank you.
I do too, without a doubt. You are going to be awesome. You are going to rock it, and all the words are just going to come out naturally. So don't even waste a second thinking about it. Just go and be you, and things are going to get, as Joshua said, but this is actually going to bring more and more. So.
Oh my gosh.
And just, I have to say, Yvonne, don't restrict yourself, because you should speak to English people too. Like, I know that you had that fear of doing it in English. I think you were awesome.
You wouldn't even be able to tell that you were nervous.
Yeah.
Oh, couldn't tell at all. You're fantastic. We can totally understand you. Release that.
But when I start talking like that, it's not really me. I mean, it's something that comes to me, and I go, for like 10 minutes, and it's like, I don't know, just comes. And these are the right moments when I conquer the journalists, and they get, emotional, and I don't know, it comes. Well, we'll see what happens.
Well, guys, we are at the end of our hour. Do we have some final inspirational words for our people?
Just be grateful to life, and it will give you back 10,000 times,
Wow. Just be
Thank you
grateful to
so
life.
much, Ivan. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here with you. It's an honor to be in the book with you. You're absolutely scrumptious and precious. And we love your message, and we love you.
Absolutely.
And I love you back. Thank you very much.
If you could make it on next week too, please come on. I want to hear about it.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, speak of the devil, next week we will be talking on Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. with JP Baudouin. So he's a fellow Québécois. Yeah, guys, come back, and we're going to talk to JP. And we've got our friend Joshua, who just booked a date for the week after that. So, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm going to post the edited version. The unedited version is already live as soon as we hit stop, and I'm going to post the edited version a little later. So thank you, everyone, for coming.
For your job. Ciao,
Bye.
ciao. Bye, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Love you all.
What? Love you all.
Bye.